All right, welcome everybody. We did it. We're here. Nina, what's up?
What's good? We're
Oh
finally
my
here.
gosh, we did it. There's so much in store. I
I'm
can't
so
believe it's
excited.
already here.
And I feel like we got so many great things planned, really beyond what I can even imagine, what's coming later with Rove and how we're all going to be able to interact, and just hearing about so many of these really interesting rad projects that are doing it in this wild world we're in, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And we had these plenty of talks in the back channels of just like we just want to provide some fun stuff. And we don't care if it's for 5 people, if it's for 500 people. We just want to allow those people who are in the audience right now, those positive figures of flow, just an outlet to enjoy each other. I feel like lately there's been just so much craziness and with the winter coming, but you know what always happens with the winter is it ends up warming up, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally believe in seasons and nature and things, sprouting and growing organically. Like the strong do survive, and not only that, like we're all because we see it through. It's really important to have fun while we're in this space, and that's what's great about the flow community, particularly, is that uh, it's not just for investment per se. We're like it's friendships, it's bonds, it's fanning out together, and it's also partying together. I mean, so many of the projects that even like for example, Party Goobers is all about having fun, and like why not, just bring harness all this energy and fandom for everything that each founder is trying to do, and bring it together. We're bringing everyone together. It's not just about me, myself, and I, or my particular project. I feel like that was the hugest thing, you creating this platform for everyone to come and learn fun, meet new people, and chill. Like, who doesn't want to go to a dope party and possibly meet cool people and win stuff at the same time and see amazing art? I don't know. That's what we're
Yeah,
doing.
I know that's a win for me. Genuinely. Yeah, no, that's part of my favorite part of doing this is the collaboration of the projects. It's just so fun because look, we're promoting these projects to the community, but what's really cool is when these projects get to work together, they start going, "Oh my gosh, I didn't have a Fright Club NFT, or I didn't have a Solar Pups, and I had no idea what that was." And it's really cool when other project leaders get to do that. I mean, we're you being a project leader, it's like you can attest to how busy you are and how much time you spend, advancing your project and your communities. It's tough, and to be able to take a step back and be like, okay, what about my NFT portfolio? What about some things that I'm interested in? Do you sometimes feel like you get lost in the sauce?
Yeah, I feel like I've been lost in the sauce for such a long time. Just, growing with the space as it evolves, and also as creatives, we enjoy and love to do and what we want to bring to the space as the space is ready to us. That's a big thing that, I've learned along the way, that I'm sure many other project founders feel the same way. There's a lot of things that we want to do and we set out wanting to do. And then for some reason or another, we're not on an island by ourselves. We're working with a community. We're trying to grow our community to love the things that we do, and also, um, make it an experience that they can't get anywhere else. There's so much that we're trying to do, in different ways, especially when you're like we're like a punk rock band. We're like DIY garage band. We're doing it for the love of what we love, which I know a lot of the other founders, some of them are like that too, where, it's really very much a grassroots type of thing, but we're doing art at the house. So we do cinematic, high quality things that we want to share with the whole entire community, as well as bring other people into the space based on that. And so, like, we're figuring out how to evolve with what we want to do to make it fun for people. So the biggest thing that one of the things that we learned is like we're now really focused on the interaction, and the interactive gaming experiences that we're developing through our art and animation for our community. Because to me, that's going to be something that people are going to enjoy doing, not just talking about things, but playing together, talking about playing together, playing against people they never thought they'd ever play, but also giving that play aspect is so important and just creating more opportunities um, for people to have fun again in as many ways as possible. So yeah, it's been a journey and it does get, it gets nuts. And I do see that some founders sometimes they like really voice their concerns on Twitter about, venting and whatnot. And I love to hear it because you're not alone, and I feel like sometimes community members don't understand how much goes into, creating each campaign, each collectible really from and also just conceptually the vision of where we want to go forward and what's feasible. So, yeah, I know I said a lot, but what I'm saying is I love being here. We're in it to win it, and the biggest thing is being around people who, in a community who wants to grow with you. And I think the party favor space is so dope because you learn about all these different projects. But really, if you're having fun, it's like I want people just to come and hang out, learn, talk to one another, you know, joke about things, share their Halloween plans, share Halloween memes, share what their dogs are wearing for, or their pets are wearing for for Halloween costumes. Just have, and if you find a project you can't wait to be a part of and want to join that community, even better. Ask us questions, things like that. But also just chill, have a good time, listen to music,
I
have a
love
drink or
that. Yeah, it's
smoke.
not so serious. Like, I think that really it sucked a lot of like life out of the NFT community. Like, I understand that investments are a part of this space, but it is not this space. And that again, that is just something I've witnessed over time, and you have as well. Is that I guess what I could say is philosophically, right? I always preach, I'm a revolutionary. Nina, you're a revolutionary. Like we're revolutionaries, right? But
Absolutely.
something I like to remind myself and other revolutionaries and other people about these causes is, don't forget to enjoy what you're trying to protect slash save. Don't forget, because if we fight our whole lives, or you're busting your ass in your project and you're fighting, fighting, fighting to make your project better, don't forget to enjoy what you've already created. And that's what I hope these parties allow, for not only project leaders but people in the community to take a step back and don't take things so seriously. And then you touched on a couple other points, which is like how hard the projects are working to provide for the community, and you might not see it in the front view, but I can assure you that working with as many projects that I have, that's all I ever see these project leaders doing is working, working, working toward the future, toward the next part. So with that being said, Fright Club, oh my gosh, so you had quite the journey. You are literally one of the OG Flow projects, been around for a while, got some really cool niche NFT stuff going on. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it, and we can jump into a little bit about what you're up to now?
Sure, absolutely. So, we've been in this space for over a year now, or just around a year. We launched last year during Flow Fest with a slew of other great, interesting projects. We entered this space to create a community for the horror film and horror fan community. We are artists, directors, and writers in terms of the creative team, and we love to tell stories. And we figured this was an amazing space to give actors and fans a way to connect with one another, tell new stories together, and really when you can't see someone in person at a horror convention, you can reach them in some ways through a virtual community. So this is where we initially started our idea from. And that way we started to create, digital collectibles and digital art to, reflect like different actors' legacies. And we went to several different horror conventions in person to test and to see and to invite that community into Web3. Now, from what we learned and what we weren't prepared for is that this is still a very new space for the general population, or it was, about a year ago. And a lot of people who were entering the space, um, they heard about it through a lot of normies, I should say. They heard about it through what they'd see in the news, and it was like, you always get different conflicting information. So, in understanding what we're doing and how niche it was really, we focused more on how we can connect our art to the existing flow community that already understood the value of fandom, of high level collectibles, and also the power of community, I should say, in this space and how we can where Web3 is going. So we was like, okay, well, why did we took months to decide where we were going to actually drop and launch from, and I decided that the passion of what I see with, like, I love basketball, but like what I saw with Top Shot, the passion of the community of how um, you know, what it means to get excited with someone. It's like going to a great concert too, like at a huge stadium where like you have 30,000 people and everyone's singing the same lyrics and you kind of become like entranced, but it feels so good to be a part of something so big, even if you're not on stage. So the horror community is very niche, but they have that passion in terms of the horror fans. They're so tied to these classic films. So we really wanted to give them a space here, especially with what we do with animation. So we decided to evolve as we go forward in that the collectible market is still there, but we really think that an added layer of interaction would be again through gaming, where we could invite horror film actors to play games with our community, so you can access it online, but also not only you're enjoying content, but you're actually winning things and playing against each other. If you're sitting at home, there's just another way to interact with the community. So outside of conversation and trading. So I mean, again, this is the it's we're evolving with our community, but also thinking about how we can grow and define our vision with Web3 as the ecosystem evolves and as, the development of what we can build out here safely and with security evolves as well too.
Yeah, and I think you touched on a couple other cool things. Is like people can preach community, community, community. Well, what is community? What does community do? Like, what is the whole purpose? And I think that what's really interesting about projects with strong communities at the start is they are able to affect the project themselves because project leaders like yourself are so open to allowing that initial community to kind of help guide the project. I think that's so cool. I don't know many companies in real life that really allow their, we'll call them stockholders or biggest fans. It's not like Gucci's listening to the public about like, hey, what do you want us to come out with next? So I just think that that's such a unique factor of Web3. Have you kind of ran into that and dealt with that a little bit?
Yeah, it's like what's been so awesome. It's like each project attracts its own tribe, and that's how I see it. And even if our tribe is small now, I know if we stay consistent with what we do and do best, we're going to attract the ones that are for us. And again, we have a very high level of what we do, which may not always translate for, every person in the space in terms of how they choose projects or invest in NFTs. But we do know that if you love not if you don't love horror, but you love animation and you love art, if you don't love animation, but you love a great film with a great storyline, if you don't love films, but you love a game that makes you want to crack your skull to figure it out, we're gonna give it to you. Our visuals, our animation, our stories, in addition to people that are really respected and have created their legacies with their work, bringing them in and creating something that's worth their involvement. And that's been a caveat that I maybe haven't spoken about, but it's in dealing with entertainment communities, there are people who don't trust or know this space, and in building things for them, um, if you really want them to be involved and passionate about it, it has to not only make sense, and they may not, some people may not even use a computer, they're not even, they have an assistant, doing all their texts and social media for them. So really to get them to understand that this is not a scary space. It's really fun. And there's a lot you can do with it, but also building out infrastructure and projects that allow them to engage easily and then allow their fans to engage easily and also make it interesting for people who are in Web3. So it's kind of a multifaceted approach, but I do know if we build it, they will come. And as long as we stay completely committed to our vision and our level and our standards, there's nothing that can stop us. And I know the people here, they're there for a reason. Again, our community will grow as we continue to evolve and give them what they want and build it out.
Yeah, and that's how I feel genuinely. I feel that right there with you, Nina, is that as I just personally, as I'm throwing these parties, as I'm organizing, getting these projects together, that's my biggest thing is just keep doing it. Consistency, focus. We've seen in this winter, and I know people in the audience. I see a lot of familiar faces out there. You've all seen projects that were at peak heights of excitement, and the community was so active, and then you slowly see them taper off and it just becomes less active and to me, of course I understand how challenging it is to keep your community excited, keep them going, but that's like the fun, right? That's the ingenuity that you have of pivoting, changing, being new, things like that. So when it comes to that, like as you're looking to go forward with your project, what has been one of the coolest kind of like I don't know if you want to drop some alpha. I don't know if there's alpha I can hunt for, but what's one of the coolest like new things you've come up with lately that you just think like, man, the community's really gonna love this?
I really am so psyched about our single player and multiplayer gaming experiences that are being um
What?
yes,
Hold
yes.
up! You just dropped that nonchalantly as hell. Go back one more time. I just want to hear it in the ears one more time.
Our single player and multiplayer gaming experiences. It's if you've seen our work, and maybe we'll drop some stuff in the general chat. It's like it's really lifelike cinematic animation, and I feel like that adding to gaming and in a world where we can actually play against each other, like whether you're in Hawaii, I'm in New York, such and such is in LA or Texas, Indiana, wherever we are, we can all log on and play this game. And guess what? On special nights, if we're playing like a haunted house game or if we're playing an escape room game, if we're trying to get out of the house and one of our team members is, I don't know, maybe Paul Taylor from who played Hellraiser, or maybe it's Robert England who played Freddy Krueger, maybe it's one of the kids from Stranger Things, and it's like they log on and they're in it with you for half an hour, but you're already enjoying the game anyways because we're building a dope game that you're gonna love to play with friends regardless. But it's pretty cool when you can connect on that level, and then it looks sick. So for me, like, it looks amazing, but then also there's all these interesting clues. What better way, can we elevate for our community? Like, we love creating art, we love creating the collectibles. We also know there's another level of engagement. And so one of the things that we talked about is that even in doing like live streams of celebrities, which is awesome. We've thought about to bring them into Discord, but it's like for the celebrities too, it's a fan experience to be like, "Hey, how you doing? What's all going on, guys?" That's one thing. But like when you're playing with them and everyone's engaged in doing something together, it's a different bonding experience. And it takes less pressure off of everyone. We're all human in that moment, not just fan and star. So that's what
Right.
we're trying
It's
to
like that
do.
psychology of being on stage. Like right now, like genuinely, like I do the stage because it's a little easier to organize for people. But I like when I'm in the crowd. Like I like being next to people in like this non-hierarchy type society, right? These actors, these celebrities, they're just people, and it's what's so cool about Web3, and we talk about it all the time, is the experience of fandom and making it like a normie thing.
Exactly, and this is the thing, it's awesome to get excited about something that that is great. I feel like that's when I saw the way NBA Top Shots looked the first time I laid eyes on them, it did something different to me than any other type of project that was in the space that was, making millions and millions of dollars and everything else. It wasn't the innovation of the tech behind blockchain. It was also creating something on top of that tech that, you feel like you're winning it that shot, like you're getting it in there. It takes you back to that moment, how pivotal is the way they, crafted the shots, the way they each, every second of that collectible makes you excited. It gives you hype. It takes you back to a specific moment in time. And to feel like, yes, I own that momentum, that greatness, and I'm sharing that excitement with other people. It's great. It's amazing. I don't know. I don't know if anybody had ever been maybe like in high school or middle school and they liked something but no one else knew about it, so they'd have to go home and, you know, listen, watch that TV show on their own or draw cartoon, draw the anime they like that no one else really cared about. But then when you find someone else who loves what you love, it's like, whoa, this is so cool. We can fan out together. And then now we have all these systems where, we meet more and more people. And it is, yeah, for some people, it is, mostly an investment tool. For other people, it's about fanning out. And again, creating more ways to fan out together, you just make life a little, sometimes more bearable. You know what I mean?
No, totally. Being in it together is huge, and that's what's this whole like they call it the crypto winter. This is what it's taught me is well let's take the analogy of the stock market. Like when the stocks are down, you don't see people like coming together, supporting each other, being like, "We got this, we can do this." Like it's a new kind of found community concept. And I'll say maybe like in the GameStop or the Dogecoin, like stuff that was like kind of like virally, like meme that showed a little support. But what's amazing about Web3 is it's showing this new era of togetherness that I think like philosophically on that revolutionary topic, like I think this is a huge step for humans to be able to connect all around the world, not only based on fandom, but just all peak interests. I think it's so cool to see.
Absolutely. There was this one TikTok I came across or a meme the other day, and it was like these little kids going to a Yankees game in the subway or nuts. And it just, I don't know, it just made me so happy because that enthusiasm of whether the team is doing great this season, whether they win, lose, we're here for it. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do to us? You can't stop us. You know what I'm saying? So in terms of the crypto winter, yeah, of course. I mean, I feel like in many ways it's residual from a lot of other, blows we've taken in society, whether, no matter what, like everyone's, fighting through something. This is something that's hitting this whole community, but also the economy in general is not easy for everyone. And people are talking about that every day. It's shoved in our faces every day in the news. But what's not shoved in your face is the people who are working behind the scenes every day, regardless, despite, to make sure that when it's spring, the creatives are still out here with something for you. You know what I mean? Like big money, you know, everybody who's putting probably in the news that this is dead is the same, they're part of the same institutions that also can't wait to, make a flip and bring it back without the innovation and without the blood, sweat, and tears that, individual founders are putting day in and day out without the reward. We're doing it so when spring comes, we've never left you. We're not here. We're not like whatever fair weather fans or whatever. We're not leaving. We're not going anywhere. What are they going to do about it?
It's
You
so
know?
cool to see the people. Man, I'm such a shitty better in life. Like I'm so bad at it. Like you guys could all like if I say, hey, I'm gonna make this bet the exact opposite and bet your house on it because you're gonna win. But like at the start of this crypto winter, I kind of made some bets like internally within myself and saw, what projects I believed in and I thought were gonna keep the growth and it was just that passion that streams from a lot of people here. And at the end of the day, regardless of what you've done during the winter, if you're still around, what that did was that like made your skin tough, right? Like that gave you that experience, that energy, and you got to see not only the projects that stuck around, but the people in the community. And I think that was just so special to me because it was so overwhelming in January, February of last year, where it was so overwhelming that you almost couldn't see sincerity. And so I feel like then I was a little more I was naive and I thought everything was a good project and everybody was trying to be a revolutionary and trying to change things and trying to put the art or the power back in the hand of the artist, but like so many people weren't. and it was actually just about profit. And again, if that's your thing and that's your group, I'm all, about it. Like people can do, be interested in what they are. But me, like personally, Jimbo, I love projects who are in it to just create awesome, fun shit. Like at the end of the day, and Nina, I can genuinely say, you reek, you vibrate, you radiate that energy.
I appreciate that, and, I think we've talked about this before, like, but this is just I agree with you 1,000%. Like, I totally understand why, this space is really important for certain people who are involved, solely just as investment, but at the same time, you can't put a price tag on vibes, on energy, and on something that's done really, really, really well. There are a lot of projects who don't invest the same time and energy into, like narrative or storytelling or art or who are trying to, do crazy mind tricks with with their stories, but it doesn't matter. People are drawn to them for other reasons, and that's the thing. I love that as long as you have passion with what you do and you're direct with it, people will come. You'll find your audience. They just have to hear about it. So all in what we do and understanding that okay, it may not be for everyone. You don't even have like my whole thing is it's an elite project and that's why it's like it's not for everyone and that's okay, but the vibes are going to be for everyone. Like did you ever go to a place where you're like you want to go because the people are cool but you don't necessarily love the coffee or the food, but like you love the vibe, you love the way, and you love when you go there you feel good, so you might buy a sandwich, you might not. I feel like if you create a space where people are just happy to be there. Their minds are going to be open to learn. You never know what else they might bring in terms of insight and energy to improve, um, to improve the whole space. And that's where I'm with it. It's like, okay, I get it. It's there's room for big corporate. There's room to go to a department store. There's a room for a mom and pop store that does really, really well. So how I see us is that we're an independent project that does things. It's super high. It's super high luxury. It's just we don't price it that way yet because we're trying to get the people who really, really like what we do to come in there, and then they decide, what that means for the rest of the community. But all we're going to do is keep putting out more experiences, more content, and really something that we're proud of, like leaving in the world. That's what I think about every time we put something out. Is this on the level of what I would say? Yes, we created that. You know, I'm happy to see it live in the world, and that's where we're at with it.
Yeah, and it's just so funny, man. I mentioned it earlier about just the example of like enjoying what you're trying to protect. I just that came up in a conversation recently. I just can't get over it. Is like, someone asked me like, "Oh, you're throwing virtual parties. Well, how is that helping the revolution?" and it's a fair question. It's super fair question, right? Like my answer was, obviously biased, and I'm looking to defend like the logic that I'm using. But for me personally, and for a lot of you, Nina, Eric, we see a lot of these people in these projects that are just passionate. The Dot Fine Crew, Christian, Biarte, I've had incredible talks with them, revolutionary talks, right? And so when I try to explain to people why this is something that I chose to do and focus on, not just the parties, but Web3 in general, is I can have fun while also learning the tools that I need to connect people and providing people that fun that I'm feeling so that they too can maybe find the tools that they need to build the infrastructure we need to kind of save this world.
Listen, I'm 1,000% with you, and I will say, and I've said it before, but I will say that one of the reasons I, I felt like I had to talk to this guy. I had to talk. This is months ago. I'm like, who is this guy? I had to talk to him. Is when I learned about how you crowdfunded. Um, it was basically a pop up benefit to help, someone in need in another country who was part of the community. Um, and I believe it was for some generators after
Oh
a
yeah,
storm.
Harley.
And yeah, and just
Yeah, that was
hearing,
wild.
but just hearing that there's this guy and he's doing this, and it was awesome from one of our OG members, Munchies, who's I know he's working doubles today, but
Shout
he
out DJ Munchies. If you know, you know the legend.
Yeah, and this is maybe, I don't know, this is or way much earlier this year. He's like, "Hey, this is a great guy. He did this," and I said, "Whoa!" Like I've worked, I've worked in nonprofit in my life prior. I know what it takes to do a benefit and to plan and to reach out and to do. I know what and for the fact that you're able to mobilize quickly with the passion. Um, I'm like, I need to meet him because I know he's in this for the same reasons I am. Um, you know what I'm saying? And like, so it's everything we do, it is for the greater vision. It is that if we create really great experiences, we bring people who think the same way and people who want to change things with us, people who want to help other people, and people who bring good vibes, like no negative energy, no bashing. Like we could take that somewhere else. We're bringing people who want to be in here. When they spend time with us, this is what they're doing. And when they engage with our content, they know this is what they're a part of and they feel proud of it. And that's another thing. Our marketplace is with Find. That was,
Yes.
and
I'm so sorry, but
no, you're
that
good.
was okay. Full disclosure, everybody. Okay, full
Mhm.
disclosure. I did not touch a fucking key. Okay, so my
Oh.
heart shaking, that was fucking scary. How did that just it's called Demon by Evan. And the tempo bot just decided to play it right now out of nowhere. So okay. Good job, Nina.
Well, that's another thing I was saying when you mentioned building with other like-minded people. Um, Getting like at first we were really dead set about having our own marketplace, and it was actually our marketplace was in development. But after meeting Christian and Bjartek and the Fine team and understanding what they were committed to, I said, "Let's." I'm that's the only marketplace that we've committed to as a project thus far because I know that everything that they're looking to in terms of building out in for the greater community and how we're able to all interact based on, their platform. I'm all in support of it, you know? And that's why I've been very like, okay, no, I'm keeping it exclusive at this point in having our secondary marketplace be with Find. It's not always about profit when it's about building with like-minded people so we can change the world, you're right, and do many different things for all the projects that we want to launch, how we can involve our community, how we can make it easy for them to support others, support things that they love, discover new things. There's just so much to be built. That's why I'm very patient, but in the meantime, we have a very, very clear vision of where we're going with not just with this project, but with what we're going to build. But building who you want to build a tribe with is so important. And so I'm glad you hit that and you said that too, because I've been, there's nothing worse than working with people who aren't your kind of people. They might do something well, but for the moment it works. For long term, you're not going to build a revolution together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. And this winter really showcased that. It was like the first sign of adversity. And again, and I want to make this like as clear as I literally can that I'm not judging anyone who didn't make it through the winter by any means. I'm just praising the ones that did. I'm praising the people that when they hit adversity, they didn't run. When they hit adversity, they stepped up. When they hit adversity, they dove into their own pockets to survive and to save this the goals of the community, to save what the community is looking forward to. Like that's the kind of stuff that I look forward to during this whole time period. And I'll be honest, at parts where I wasn't sure what projects were going to survive and what weren't, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun throwing parties, I hope I can continue to still do this. And sure enough, you're still out there. And so when we started building the idea of a Halloween party, I was so excited in those beginning talks because all we would think about, Nina, and this is the cool part about working with all these other project leaders, is because I know I'm a little shit talker. I have a lot of fun. The community knows I joke around a lot. I'm very sarcastic, but it's good to have the project leaders to say like, look, when we first start this, no bullshit. All we're thinking about is how can we make this fun for everybody? How can we build a Discord, a platform? How can we do these outside games? I'm not saying that poker and Gartic and all that isn't fun because I love it. It's super fun. But like, what's the next step? So like, and that starts with fun. So my question of my long-winded bullshit opinion is when you're looking to do the next part of Fright Club in any sense, do you have a weight of obviously as a company you got to make money. Do you have a weight of like what things you move forward with based on like how fun is it versus will it sell? You know, I'm sure you come to that wall a few times. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you navigate through that?
Sure, sure. So, um, we're very, very focused on aesthetic and art and creative. Our art director, Nick, who created the whole this month's Party Favors, he's a master animator and video producer. He's incredibly focused on detail to the point, and we work very well together in terms of story and narrative to where, if one if one shadow is out of place for 1 nanosecond in our collectibles, it will bother him, and he will have to re-render the whole animation, which sometimes will take 8 to 12 hours. I mean, I don't think people understand the level of kind of content we're producing, and that's okay because they will as we continue to grow and spread. So I feel like we've never cheaped out on what we think is great because that's just who we are. Applying a business sense to it to where it makes sense and still feels authentic to us as a creative team and a community has been a balance to say, okay, well, how do we go forward so we're still having fun doing what we do and we're still bringing something that we're proud of talking about? So there has been a lot of personal investment from our team in terms of time, plus volunteers, and finances in order to bring the vision forward as it needs to be. But I know that if we don't do it, it's not going to be done. I don't want to say it's not going to be done right, but it's not going to be done the way we want to. And it has to live in the world. If we have the opportunity to do it in this space at this time, we're going to go full force. What's the worst that can happen? This is in this space, once you create something, it's there and it lives forever. So I know no matter what, when you look up a Fright Club collectible 10 years from now, you see amazing art and animation, short vignettes, short cinematic film clips that tell you this is what horror was. This is what horror existed like at this time, at the very beginning of this space. So we're creating because we know we're putting our stamp on things. And we have a kind of a duty and honor for that. And our community, I know that the ones who believe in the same things are going to love that. The people who go to museums and they love certain artists. If you love a certain player and you have their jersey on your wall, you know what it means to you. So we know we're just building and finding our tribe. So in terms of what's been fun for the community, it's also learning like, well, they need different ways to interact and engage, and especially because we're not a project, in a sea of projects that are PFPs, sometimes you don't have the same ways of interaction. So in figuring out how can create like the structure that this community needs, that's been a little bit of a caveat, and I would love input from other, from community members how we could make it more fun, but also unique. Because this is not something, that's the whole thing. We want this project to live in the world and in the space, not just, amongst a small group of people. We want people to discover it on Twitter. We want it, people to interact with the gaming. And then again, if we have live stream or VR experiences, we're more like a brand that started on the blockchain, rather than just an NFT project. That's how we've seen it. So taking our aesthetic and placing it everywhere that it deserves to be.
Yeah, it's so funny around Halloween season. Just I just love that it finally pulls out that energy of Fright Club. Because it's probably really difficult, I imagine, to get outside your niche market during Christmas, or Chris, I
Mhm.
call it Christmahana Kwanzaa,
Yeah,
or
no, absolutely.
so I
Festivus,
bet you it's a little
right?
difficult. Yeah, Festivus for the rest of us. But like I
Um,
bet it's super difficult in like New Year's to be like, hey, I have a horror NFT. Was that pretty tough? If you found that you just like have to like really preach to your community that you have already?
Well, this is the thing, that we found to be most difficult, and this is in full transparency, is that the horror fan community is so vibrant. They're alive and kicking around the world. Every month in like every state in America, there's a horror convention, at least one, and around the world as well. The actors are completely booked year round. If they're not filming, if they don't, they're doing tours all the time. But it's more that that particular community is not so eager to access Web3 blockchain technology, and that's okay. We still have made the rounds live and in person to share what it could be. So I know that as things evolved, we're going to be able to unite the two. There, as it becomes more, easier for people to get a wallet. Some people, still only use cash. So as eventually, if they start, adopting technologies that make it easier for them, because they're from a certain generation, we really have faith that younger generations and people who already are super in the space are going to expand. They're going to be able to, bring other people in. So it's not necessarily the season, but it's bringing people who are fans of something, but not necessarily um, eager to. They're fans of something, but they're not necessarily comfortable with using, wallets and being on Discord and things like that. They don't know what to do with it yet. So creating more products and projects to give them a way to experience the tech and experience the community um, in real life. So that's one thing. And I would say another thing is, and understand even for us as a creative team, what we do and where we see going, because really, truly, event what we're going to do with our original character animation is create, television shows and films and things that can evolve from that. But it takes time and effort, and we need to again build this tribe a little further out. So we believe that gaming is our bridge to that, and in addition, it it satisfies our creative passion as well as uh, a way to involve community, like the Web3 community, the horror fan community, the actors, where we can all enjoy something together and still have it tied to NFTs in the blockchain. So it's kind of like,
So
yes,
I okay.
mhm,
So I would be remiss if I didn't spend the last 10 minutes or so talking about the game, and I know a little bit of if you want to go off a little bit about how you're venturing into VR concepts, and I don't know how much we could save the game for later because I get another shot at you. So if you want to talk a little bit about the VR, I'd
for
love to hear
sure.
let them
We
know a
te-
little bit about that.
so we tested VR earlier this year, and it went really well just in terms of testing audiences live at horror conventions. But this is something that we're really passionate about building out, um, which is that as 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 tech products develop, we're able to give people an opportunity to uh, exist in a virtual space that looks very realistic and lifelike, um, and either be in a horror movie scene that they've watched a million times, and be there in a horror filled room with people who are fans of the same film, and maybe with the act one of the actors who was in the film with you. So if Freddy was virtual Freddy and trying to wake you in your dreams in a virtual space with with your Oculus on or with your other virtual VR glasses
That's a
on, then
literal nightmare for the record. I don't that is literally a nightmare. But
but that
how
would be
cool.
super fun, especially like if your best friend moved across the country and you guys couldn't hang out together and you always did Halloween together. Well, like let's go and do that. That's super fun. And that's another thing that we're looking to build is doing like a live VR experience at horror conventions. It's like like a pop-up to where people, again, horror fans can go in and go into the Fright Club dome, put on their glasses, look around, and be transported into the film that they love so much, and have different experiences, again, different VR virtual scare experiences live and in person. Because that's a way to bring everyday people into tech that they've never tried before, because not, and also as we as we are developing, like there's more VR game complexes, getting our Fright Club VR like gaming brand into those complexes. So again, kids can go and try that at like virtual arcades, etc. But doing more in-person things with our tech and our aesthetic that just bridge both.
Okay, I just had you struck a chord for me, Nina. This is a fun one. When you said conventions and stuff like that, I wonder what the community would think if, and this would need to be a way to raise funding for this. Maybe talk to our friends at Flow slash Dapper. I'll text my buddy Roham. Um, but what if there was a way to do a few cities and have that in real life convention and allow projects time to plan to prepare something like that, some in real life activity that, like VR, that you need to be there to kind of showcase and experience. It would be so refreshing to see what projects are working on this stuff and be able to kind of test it out.
Yeah, I think that's an incredible idea. It would kind of be, it would be like the way they do the NFT conventions now, but really it would be like NFT or FlowCon or Flow
Woo!
Arcade or the Flowcade or
FlowCon.
something. But
Let's
like
go, FlowCon.
these awesome interactive experiences that are branded with their projects and what they stand for and what their mission is, but also like super fun. So you play games, you play against each other. I love this and I love that idea, because we were just thinking of our Fright Club pop up dome. Can you imagine though, like Goob's Party Mansion and,
Oh, come
a
on.
dog
Let's
park, the
go.
dog park, like at the in there. And again, all these really cool, interesting projects where you get there. And it's not just, it's just not about the trading. It's about in real life fun experiences. Um, I love this. I love it because it's at that second layer of where this ecosystem is going is the things that are being built on top of the chain, right?
Absolutely, and it boggles my mind. Not boggles my mind. It pushes my mind every single day to create and develop and figure out ways to have fun. And so, like, you got my mind twisted because I'm sure there's a way that we can do a couple different locations across the world. We just have to raise funding for certain leaders to go, and certain people of projects to travel. And I'm sure we could figure something out. But this is what happens, everybody. Like, just to be fully transparent as we always try to be, is this is exactly what happens. We will just be having a conversation. Like, you guys just got to see it in real time. This is not a script. This is as raw as it gets. We're literally thinking of ways to show the community some fun and show them the cool stuff we're building. Like, let's work on this. We're gonna work on this. We're
I
gonna think
love
about this
no,
because
it's
let's
clear as
try to get these
day.
projects together and we'll work on. I mean, there's projects in this party today that I'm going to put on the spot in the AMA. You heard it here first. They may not hear it yet, but I'm going to ask them their thoughts on this because, again, this community is so strong. Whether it's 50 people, 500 people, I know so many people watching in the shadows. Like, there's so many lurker flow maxis out there that are got their coats on, no pun intended there, Shamrock, got their coats on and are in the back hiding. So I think this would bring some super fun excitement to the flow community for sure.
Absolutely, and you know what? I know that Dapper and Flo just had a partnership with Twitch, and I think that that live stream, would be incredible. And for those people who can't make it in real life, in person, but they could still, again, access these experiences, these these virtual experiences at home if they can't actually come in person would be awesome too and interact, especially with the special guests that we could have there because my mind's already exploding on every, from every
Okay,
genre.
yeah, this is what happens with Nina and I, our phone calls. We go, okay, today's going to be 30 minutes, and it's actually an hour and a half because we're like, how do we do this? How do we do this? No, sister, it's such a pleasure to chat with you always. Again, I appreciate all the hard work you put into this party. It goes, unseen. All the the flyers, all the promo videos, the constant support. This is your holiday. This is your day. over here at the Halloween 2022 bash here. So just want to give you the last few minutes to say your piece to the crowd, to the people listening. We had 50 people. I know it's early some places. I know it's late some places. So I appreciate everybody for joining in. So Neena, take it away.
I'm just, again, super excited and proud to be a part of this space to, you know, host an event with these other 9 incredibly diverse and interesting projects, to let everyone in this community know that they matter, that we're doing it for you, that we continue to try to build on the highest level. And it is about, again, sometimes about having a good time together. A couple of surprises out later on today in terms of other things I'm working for specifically for this party. So stay tuned. You'll hear all about it. Our drop two is live. Drop two has been something that it's been in the works for months now, but we've tailored it really to the top highest level of rare digital art you can buy in a very limited collectible sets. We hope you enjoy it, and more importantly, um, we have so many giveaways and things that we're doing specifically for Halloween because you deserve it. It's the least that we can do to let you guys know that no matter what, we're going to get through it together. We're going to have a good time, and nothing is perfect, but we can all make greatness together. I appreciate every builder in the space, every founder, every community member who's here, whether you've ever bought an NFT or a flow on flow or in general or not, whether you know about Fright Club or not. I really appreciate you being here. And I just hope you guys have fun today. And that's what we've aimed to do. And Jim, you're incredible. And shout out to our art director, Nick Siegel. He's amazing, and he did all the art for this month, and he's done. He's a visionary himself, and please check him out.
Oh yeah, I super appreciate it. We're hopefully gonna get a chance to talk to Nick today at some point. Again, and we know he's super busy. We're trying to get it to happen. But
He's
I
here. He's actually
oh
here, but I don't know. He was having trouble accessing the mic, so maybe in our closing, or maybe we'll
yeah,
pop
yeah,
in
we could pop
different
in. We got
times
some
today.
spaces later today, and we'll talk in the back channel and definitely get Nick on. Shout out to you, Nick. I can't say it enough, man. The artwork is incredible. More and more people that see it, they're like, "Wow, this is cool. I just want to grab it," because that's what Party Favors is about. It's about showcasing the artists, and Nick was able to make some party favors that are super cool. And if you like the art, go support it. It's under $10. I right around $10. I want to say go grab one, go grab all three. There's a lot of NFTs that are quite expensive. This is very low cost, and you get a chance to win some elevated giveaways. Which the last thing I want to talk about was just the ultra rare. I know you were talking about the ultra rare NFTs. We're already giving one Jason Mask ultra rare 1 of 5 and one signed Freddy 1 of 5 into the VIP giveaway. So that's another example of opportunity that people have for just supporting Nick, checking out the party favors, and get one of those incredible NFTs.
Awesome. The last thing I want to say is like so much about horror and the horror films is, they only get you when you're alone, They only can really most of the time they only are able to get you when you're alone because you're afraid. And that's something I want to tell everyone here, every founder, every project that's involved for this event, every founder in general who we believe in, and every community member, who's in it to win it, who is here to take time and support one another. Is you are not alone, okay? We are not alone. That's it.
Amazing, Nina. Thank you so much. Go ahead and cut off our recording real quick and then make a couple announcements.
All righty. Take care, guys.